Their headline is back and no sack. Look, Jackie mentioned it there about the match-going fans. They really want it to work, and the hierarchy, more importantly, are desperate to see Ruben Amorim work as well. But I'll refer to this, and it's a little bit of 80s pop, if you like, referring to The Sun on Sunday. It's Bonnie Toiler. Ruben serenaded, but this is no total eclipse as heartache still looms. Do you feel there is an inevitability that Ruben Amorim will lose his job eventually, or will he be backed and no sack?
No, I think he's under pressure. He will be under pressure again if they lose against Liverpool in 2 weeks. Then we're going to say the same. But he can turn things around. He will have a bit more time. But I think there's always this kind of threat over him on like 2 defeats in a row, 3 defeats in a row, which they could easily do. And then that pressure is going to be bigger and bigger, and they will be linked with more managers, Gareth Southgate being one and others, and it'll be difficult for him. But only results, more even than performances, only results can give him a bit of time.
Has it bought him a little bit more time, considering he's won this game, and maybe if they were to lose at Anfield, is it almost a free hit unless they get really bad?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think it does give him a bit more time, and I think also because we're now going into an international break, I think all the talk on Friday was that he might go after yesterday's game because of the international break. Now we've got another international break in November. I would have thought that next window, if he goes into that next window with a good run of results or a decent run of results, he'll be fine. If he doesn't, then the pressure will rise again. And I think we're almost in that game-to-game scenario with him now, which in itself is usually unsustainable going forward. So to answer your question that you asked to Julian, I still find it hard to see it working just because it's gone on for quite so long. I think whatever happens though, they should probably give him this season because it gives them the whole season. Then I think they've only got the FA Cup in the league, and they might qualify for Europe, but they're not going to win it. So they may as well try and give this as long as possible to see if it will work, having invested so much into him, because otherwise, what are you going to do? And that's the big question.
And the hierarchy want it to work. That's key. The fans want it to work. The hierarchy want it to work. He clearly does. I like the fact that he said, my players back me, that my players want me to stay in the job. Yeah, because he's taking all the flack on their behalf at the moment. But it's in everybody's interest for them to try and build on this. But there were the odd tactical tweak yesterday that made things look a bit more positive with the attacking players coming together. Needs a little bit of time to get Mbeumo a bit more involved with Šeško. He looks so much better as a result of that. But it's got to happen quickly. And I slightly disagree about the result at Anfield, because obviously Liverpool need to win that game too. And I think if it was a narrow defeat and if it was a really, really strong Manchester United performance, I don't think that's the end of the world. But yeah, a win would do wonders.
I think the hierarchy have to back him because the scrutiny will be on them as well, because they've spent a huge amount of money, and it will be an expensive sacking, having given Erik ten Hag a new contract. So they're probably something like, we need him to succeed for our own jobs as well, not just Ratcliffe, but obviously Omar Barada, the CEO, and Jason Wilcox. They'll be under huge pressure if this doesn't work.
And having made him come effectively mid-season, he didn't want to come mid-season. He wanted to leave it to the end of the season. He's not daft. He knew that they didn't have the players that fitted his system. We keep banging on about systems, but that is the way he wants to play. They knew that. Maybe they know now that they made a mistake with that. So they want it to work out. And I agree with you. If they're not losing games every week, see it to the end of the season and see if it can potentially work with another window.
Just picking up on that, it's interesting about that preference that he didn't want to join mid-season. Would they have been in a better or a worse position had he joined at the end of last season? Because if joining mid-season, he's seen all the problems and almost had a free hit at it for the rest of that season, hasn't he?
I think he meant more to implement his own ideas and that system. Yeah, the pre-season would have been good. He could have gone into the transfer window if he had come in June to sign the right players, to fit the right system, to arrive in November. And I think in his first 30 days, they played 10 games because they were in the Europa League, obviously, at the time. And it was very difficult for him to do any work. I remember being at Old Trafford, and during the warm-up before a game, they were doing drills, like defensive drills, that they didn't have time to do during the week. So this was how bad things were in terms of, we have no time here to do anything. That's why I think he wanted to come later, and rightly so, to be fair. But then Manchester United train come once, and if you don't take it, then he might not come again. That's why he felt, okay, I'm going to come now. But yeah, it was not ideal for sure.
Yeah, you say it only comes once. Let's see if he's going to remain in that job, because